Robert Dillingham. Here's Dillingham. Step back from the elbow. Yes.
Robert Dion Potassi Dillingham, born January 4th, 2005. In today's basketball world, a player can become famous long before he ever proves himself in the NBA. A few viral highlights, a handful of mixtapes, and suddenly the internet starts building a star in real time. That was the case for Rob Dillingham. Long before his name was called on draft night, Dillingham had already become one of the most talked about young guards in the country. His flashy handles, fearless shot making, and confidence with the ball made him one of the most exciting high school hoopers to watch anywhere. Social media loved his style. Every clip, every step back, every tough shot only added to the growing belief that a future NBA scorer was on the way. But the transition from viral highlight star to actual NBA player is never guaranteed. The league has a way of revealing things that highlight tapes never show. And in Chapter 1, early in his career, Dillingham is learning that lesson in real time. What's happening? Let's talk about it. It's your boy JC Stunted Growth. Let's get it, man. Like, comment, and subscribe, and let me know who I should do next. Rob Dillingham is a 6'1" guard from Hickory, North Carolina, who first began attracting national attention while playing basketball in the Charlotte area. Known for his quick handle, deep shooting range, and confidence with the ball, Dillingham quickly developed a reputation as one of the most creative young scorers in his class. Early in his high school career, he played at Combine Academy, where his highlight-filled style and ability to create shots off the dribble made him one of the most watched prospects in the country. As his reputation grew, Dillingham eventually transferred to Donda Academy, the school founded by music artist Kanye West. While there, he continued building his national profile by competing against top competition across the country. His ability to break defenders down, hit tough pull-up jumpers, and score in isolation situations helped him rise up the recruiting rankings, eventually becoming one of the most recognized guards in the 2023 recruiting class. Dillingham ultimately committed to play college basketball at the University of Kentucky under longtime head coach John Calipari. During his lone season at Kentucky, he averaged over 15 points per game while shooting efficiently from the field and three-point range, despite coming off the bench for most of the season. His instant offense ability, scoring instincts, and fearless shot making helped him stand out in a talented freshman class. By the end of the year, Dillingham had established himself as one of the most dynamic scorers in college basketball, earning SEC Sixth Man of the Year honors and solidifying his position as a first-round prospect entering the 2024 NBA Draft. Stunt number 1, the social media hooper problem. The first reason Rob Dillingham is struggling in this initial chapter of his career, in my opinion, is maybe the expectations were too high to begin with. By the time he entered the NBA, the internet had already made up its mind about who he was supposed to be. Long before he stepped onto an NBA court, Dillingham had become one of the most recognizable young hoopers in the country, thanks to highlight clips that quickly spread across YouTube, Instagram, and TikTok. His style of play was perfect for the social media era. Flashy handles, deep threes, tough pull-ups, and the confidence to take shots most players wouldn't even attempt made him incredibly entertaining to watch. Every clip seemed to reinforce the same idea. Rob Dillingham was the next electric scoring guard, the type of player who could break defenders down one-on-one and put up big numbers in a hurry. But highlight culture has a way of simplifying players into a version of themselves that doesn't always translate the same way when the competition changes. High school mixtapes capture the most exciting moments of a game, not the full reality of a player's skill set. The jump from high school or even college basketball to the NBA is one of the most difficult transitions in sports. The defenders are bigger, faster, and far more disciplined. The space on the floor disappears quicker, and the mistakes that once went unnoticed suddenly get exposed. For players whose reputations are built heavily on viral moments, that adjustment can be even tougher because the expectations surrounding them are already inflated before their careers truly begin. In Dillingham's case, the internet helped create the image of a future NBA star before he ever had the chance to settle into the role he would actually play at the professional level. Instead of simply entering the league as a young guard developing his game, he arrived carrying the weight of an identity that had already been shaped by years of online hype. That doesn't mean the talent wasn't real. Dillingham's creativity with the ball and natural scoring instincts were always legitimate strengths. But the version of him that circulated across social media often represented his ceiling rather than where he actually was as a player at the moment. When a player is introduced to the league that way, the gap between expectation and reality can become the first obstacle they have to overcome. Stunt number 2, trying to become a point guard instead of a scorer. One of the biggest adjustments young guards face when entering the NBA is the pressure to redefine their role. The skill set that made them successful earlier in their careers doesn't always match what teams expect from them at the professional level. For Rob Dillingham, that adjustment appears to have centered around a shift in how he approaches the game offensively. Throughout high school and even during his season at Kentucky, Dillingham built his reputation as a scoring guard. His game was built around creativity with the ball, quick pull-up jumpers, deep shooting range, and the confidence to attack defenders one-on-one. He thrived when he was able to play freely, creating his own shots and putting pressure on defenses with his scoring ability. But once players reach the NBA, labels start to matter more. Guards who measure around 6 foot or slightly above are often expected to take on the responsibilities of a traditional point guard. That means organizing the offense, prioritizing ball movement, and making the safe pass instead of hunting for their own shot. For some players, that transition comes naturally, but for others, it can take them away from the instincts that originally made them dangerous. Early in his professional career, Dillingham has often looked like a player trying to prove he can run an offense rather than simply trusting the scoring ability that carried him through the earlier stages of his career. Instead of attacking immediately when a defender is off balance, there's been moments where he appears to be looking for the right read first, scanning the floor and trying to create opportunities for teammates. On the surface, that approach makes sense. Teams value guards who can facilitate and control the pace of a game. But for a player whose greatest strength has always been his ability to create difficult shots, playing too cautiously can remove the very pressure that makes defenses react. Scoring guards typically open up the floor through aggression. When a defender believes a player is looking to score at any moment, the defense begins to collapse, which naturally creates passing opportunities. If that same player becomes hesitant, the defense can relax, stay home on shooters, and force the offense to operate in tighter spaces. Dillingham's challenge moving forward is whether he can find the balance between facilitating for teammates and embracing the attacking mentality that originally made him one of the most exciting young scorers in basketball. Stunt number 3, size, opportunity, and the NBA reality check. And lastly, an underrated aspect of Dillingham struggling in Chapter 1 is circumstances out of his control. Every level of basketball presents a new test, but the NBA introduces a physical reality that many young guards have to adjust to quickly. For Rob Dillingham, that reality begins with something he has dealt with throughout much of his career: size. Listed around 6'1" and under 180 pounds, Dillingham entered the league as one of the smaller guards at his position. While that didn't prevent him from dominating stretches of high school and thriving as a scorer in college, the physical demands of the NBA are simply different. Night after night, guards at his level are matched up against players who are not only bigger, but stronger and more experienced. Many backcourt players in today's league stand anywhere from 6'4" to 6'7", with long wingspans and the strength to absorb contact without losing balance. That difference in size can affect both ends of the floor. Offensively, it can make it harder for smaller guards to finish in the paint or create separation against longer defenders. Defensively, it can turn every possession into a potential mismatch if opposing teams decide to attack the size difference. The NBA is also a league built heavily around opportunity. Young players often need consistent minutes and defined roles in order to develop confidence and rhythm. Dillingham's early career has already included some instability in that regard. After being drafted into a crowded guard situation, he's had to compete for minutes while trying to prove he belongs at the same time. For many young guys, that balancing act can slow down the adjustment period. When a young guard is unsure how long he'll be on the floor, the natural instinct is to play cautiously and avoid mistakes. Instead of playing freely, every decision becomes calculated. There have also been reports that Dillingham has dealt with a wrist issue during this stretch of his early career, something that can quietly affect a guard's rhythm and shooting confidence. Even minor injuries can disrupt timing, especially for players whose offensive game relies heavily on touch and ball control. Taken together, size challenges, fluctuating opportunities, and physical setbacks are all part of the adjustment process many young guards face when entering the league. For Dillingham, learning how to navigate those realities will play a major role in shaping the next phase of his career. All in all, the early chapter of Rob Dillingham's career highlights how complicated the transition to the NBA can be, especially for players who arrive with massive expectations already attached to their name. The social media hype surrounding his highlight-filled style helped build the image of a future scoring star long before he ever stepped foot on an NBA floor. At the same time, the adjustment to the professional game has required him to reconsider how he approaches his role, balancing the instincts that made him an exciting scorer with the responsibilities of playing point guard at the highest level. Add in the reality of his size against bigger NBA guards, limited opportunities early in his career, and even a wrist issue affecting his rhythm, and the challenges become easier to understand. Still, this story is far from finished. Many young guards take time to find the roles that best suit their strengths. If Rob eventually settles into the aggressive, confident scoring style that first made him stand out, the next chapter of his career could look very different. Salute, much respect, but for these reasons, in this chapter, his growth is being stunted. It's your boy JC Stunted Growth, and I'm out.